There are 11 critical mistakes 9 out of 10 people are making with their Chase credit cards. Listen, I know one person who desperately wanted to get approved for a Chase Sapphire preferred card, but they made the huge mistake of not prioritizing Chase early on in their credit card journey, which meant they had to wait far longer than necessary and settle for below average rewards, even though they were traveling a ton during that time. But you don't have to make mistakes like that. I'm ready to tell you how you can typically earn thousands of extra sign-up bonus points just by applying for Chase cards in one specific way, and how a lot of you can easily be earning up to an extra $500 per year. Plus, there's a way you can get your foot in the door with Chase and get approved for one of their cards with no credit history. And that way is by starting with their new Chase Freedom Rise card. You don't want to make the mistake of applying for Chase cards too early in your credit card journey, because they'll most likely deny you due to too low of a credit score or due to a thin credit profile. And if you make that mistake, you'll end up causing yourself to get hit with a hard inquiry on your credit report, which can easily damage your report by a few points, maybe 5 to 10 points in the short term. And you really don't want to have to put up with that. Chase typically likes to see 1 to 2 years of credit history with other bank issued credit cards from other institutions. And they like to see a FICO score from Experian of 700 and above. So the new meta, or the new strategy to improve your odds of getting approved for other Chase cards down the line, is to start with the Freedom Rise card that they just unveiled. It's specifically targeted for people that are new to credit. So if you have bad credit, this is not going to be for you. You want to be a newer person to credit. So if you're a college student, or if you're just someone who has been unbanked and you haven't had any credit cards before, you could be any age, but you just don't have any other bank issued credit cards on your profile, then this is going to be for you. And Chase is really opening the doors to more people and turning over a new leaf by actually giving people the blueprint, giving you the instruction manuals, the steps to success right on the landing page for this card. It pretty much clearly states that this is to be used as someone's first credit card. And if you want to significantly improve your odds of success in getting approved for the card, you'll want to deposit $250 into a Chase checking account. Historically, Chase has never given us this level of detail when giving us instructions to get approved for their cards. So this is amazing. I really like what Chase is doing in the last year or so. They even state that you'll be eligible for a credit limit increase in as soon as 6 months. And I'm sure after you develop a closer relationship with Chase over the next few months or years, you'll be receiving more pre-approvals for their more premium travel cards like the Chase Sapphire Preferred card. And if you're more focused on cash back, then the Freedom cards are going to be more up your alley. Another mistake people are making is applying for the Chase Sapphire Reserve card by mistake. Now, it might seem silly to you because you're a veteran with the Chase ecosystem, but I've seen more than a few people say that they've mistakenly signed up for the wrong Sapphire card. And there's a few reasons I think this keeps happening. I mean, the cards do look very similar. So the reserve card just has a little bit more shrouding, more darkness applied to the card itself, but they both have similar stripe patterns to them. I mean, I know they're part of the same card family, but I can see how somebody who's not well versed with Chase, who's not familiar with it, would get confused by that. And they have the same name, so they both start with Chase Sapphire. So if you don't carefully read the full name, you're not gonna know what you're signing up for. I can see how a lot of average people would look at the landing page with both of those cards and just hit apply for the first card that hits their eye. Now, as of late, they're actually running the exact same sign up promotion. So if you just look at the sign up bonus itself, they're both gonna say the same amount right now. Now, I can see how that could be confusing because the reserve card is far more premium. It has a lot more rewards and it has a much higher annual fee. I can see how somebody who's not in the know would think, okay, I'm expecting the reserve card to have a higher sign-up bonus. So I don't want any of you making that mistake. So just remember that the reserve card has that $550 annual fee. The preferred card has a $95 annual fee, and the reserve card has a $300 annual travel credit. Now, a huge mistake people have been making for years is canceling a credit card instead of downgrading your credit card. Now, if you have a Sapphire card and you've slowed down on the amount of travel that you do, and maybe you can't get as much value from the traveling purchases compared to how you were traveling in the past, and you don't want to deal with those annual fees anymore because you're just not getting enough value back for paying out the annual fee, you don't want to just cancel the card. Now, contrary to popular belief, canceling a card won't really immediately negatively impact your credit score. That good payment history and the age of accounts will stay present on your credit report for 10 years when you cancel in good standing, so you don't have to worry about that. But the credit limits that you've worked so hard over time to build up could have an effect on your score. And plus, you worked hard to build that up. It took time to do that. You don't just start out with a $10,000 limit or a $20,000 limit. That takes work, time, effort, and relationship building to make that happen. Now, when you do cancel a card and you don't already have a significant available limit built up across all of your cards, then it could dramatically increase your utilization rate, which would in turn negatively impact your credit score. But if you already have a good portfolio of cards built up, then that's not going to affect you as much. So the most effective approach to take is to downgrade from the premium travel Sapphire cards down to one of their no annual fee cashback focused freedom cards. This way you can maintain your good payment history with Chase and that relationship that you have with them for the future. You never know when you're going to want to sign up for more cards or product change into something else. So you want to maintain that relationship and all that available credit that you worked so hard to build up. Plus, when you call to downgrade, Chase might just offer you a retention bonus. They might offer you a statement credit or a certain percentage of your annual fee to be reduced. You never know what could be available to you at that point in time. And who knows, the retention offer could be good enough for you to stick around and say, listen, I'll give that travel card another year to see if I can get some value from it. The next mistake people are making is by not applying for Chase credit cards first. I know a ton of people stressing about applying for Chase cards first in your credit card journey. And that's mainly due to the infamous 524 rule, meaning you can't have opened 5 or more credit cards in the last 24 months. And that's not just including Chase, by the way. That's including every credit card issuer, and that even includes authorized users on the personal side. And if you do have 5 or more in the last 24 months, then Chase will likely deny you for any new credit cards. And that's even if you have an excellent credit score. So you could have the perfect 850 FICO score with Experian, and they would still deny you if you're over that 524 limit. And listen, this is a big deal because Chase is one of the most sought after premium credit card lineups for travel, especially. I mean, think about the Chase Sapphire Preferred card. It's going to give you a sign-up bonus worth $750 in travel value. And for a lot of people, their rewards are worth north of 2 cents per point when you transfer to travel partners. So if you don't pay close attention to your 524 status, then you could find yourself locked out of applying for their cards for a great period of time. I mean, this is what happened to me fairly recently. There's some Chase cards that I want to apply for, but I know that I will not be approved for those cards. And I've just been too focused on building out my credit card lineup with other issuers. Now, I was lucky in the beginning because I applied for the Chase Freedom Unlimited card and got approved for that card early on in my journey. It was like my second or third card that I had signed up for. So somehow I just stumbled upon that card and I thought it would look good for me at the time. I got the sign up bonus. I didn't even know anything about the 524 rule. But since then, I've been rapidly applying for new credit cards and I've been subsequently locked out of getting approved for new Chase credit cards. So the best advice that I've come across to maintaining a good 524 status is by applying for only one credit card every 6 months. Or if you want to go even faster than that, then just make sure that you're applying for those Chase cards all up front. And then you can move out to your credit unions and your fintechs and your regional banks only after you apply for those Chase cards. And I highly recommend doing that because you want to diversify the institutions that you're banking with just to protect yourself from being debanked and having your credit limit slashed. You want to diversify your institutions and your exposure to different banks. Another thing you'll want to limit your exposure to is derogatory marks or baddies on your credit report, like late payments. With Dovely, you can press one button and send unlimited disputes to all 3 credit bureaus using the language that the bureaus understand and actually respond to. I'm testing the premium version for myself, and earlier this month, I got an incorrect address removed from my credit report 8 days after sending the dispute in to Dovely. The average score increase for paid members is 69 points, and the average score increase for free members was 37 points. But the Dovely premium members see 2 times the success rate. So just hit the link below to start disputing your credit report. Next, a lot of people are falling into what I like to call the travel trap. Now, most people do a really good job of selling you on the Chase Sapphire cards, even if they don't even intend on doing that. They start bragging about how they traveled for free, how much value they got out of it, how good their experience was on their vacation. But here's the catch, they're not you. If you're not frequently hopping on planes or enjoying staycations in another city in your state, then those perks are, well, just sitting there and they're not of much use to you. Now compare that to a cashback focused setup like the Freedom Flex or Freedom Unlimited cards. With the cashback, you're just earning cold hard cash. It's versatile, so if you're spending on dining, groceries, utilities, you're gonna earn a certain amount in cash back for those purchases. You don't need to wait for the right time to book or the right transfer partner to send your rewards to. None of that really matters. So if you're not jet setting, you're not going to other countries all the time, traveling abroad, then you might not be able to recoup the price of the annual fees of $95 or $550 with the Sapphire cards. Now on the flip side, the cashback focused Freedom cards are no annual fee. So you can hold those for free forever. It's all about matching your card with your lifestyle, with your natural spending habits. You got to really audit yourself and figure out what are your natural behaviors. Look at your bank account. What does your statement say? What are you actually using your card for? If your idea of a good time is staying at home, watching a movie, cooking a new recipe that you learned on TikTok, rather than traveling a city or backpacking across Europe, then a cashback focused lineup is probably going to be better for you. Next, some people are making the mistake of booking through the Chase travel portal and not fully understanding the pros and cons of that. You need to understand the downsides of booking through a third-party travel portal. Now, you can find some good deals on the portal, but there's some restrictions and drawbacks to using the portal. You're going to have a shorter window to cancel those plans. You're not going to get any fancy seat upgrades for your trip, and you won't be earning any of those loyalty points with those specific hotels or airlines that you would normally earn by booking directly. So you're really limited in the flexibility and some of the perks that come along with booking directly. So you'll always want to double check your booking, make sure you got the right date and times down. If you're more of a spontaneous person and you know that you might have to change your plans later, maybe you should look to book directly. And don't just grab the first deal that you see. Make sure you shop around and see who has the best rate. Now, this is a little known secret, but a lot of people are making the mistake of not applying for their credit cards in the bank branch. You always want to consider popping into your local Chase bank to apply for your next card. And why is that? Because when you apply in branch, you're likely going to be able to get a higher sign-up bonus. I mean, we're talking at least 1,000 points higher of a sign-up bonus when you go in branch typically. Also, if you look historically, these in-branch bonuses typically are available for a longer period of time as well. We saw that happen just this year, just like a month ago, when the Sapphire Preferred was running that 80,000 point sign-up bonus. And if you went in branch, it was 90,000 points, and it continued to persist a good month after it ended online. Now, this strategy is going to work better if you have a Chase bank in your local area. You know, in my hometown, Columbia, South Carolina, there are absolutely no Chase banks from what I've seen. But if you go just north, you go to North Carolina, then you're going to find a lot of Chase banks. So if you are in a rural town with no banks, then it's obviously going to be much easier to apply online. That's really your only option. Now, this is a big one. People are missing out on the referral bonuses that you can get with your Chase cards. I see very few people taking full advantage of the Chase Refer a Friend program. You can earn up to $500 per calendar year when you refer Chase credit cards to your friends and family or anybody that you get to click that link to apply and sign up for a Chase card. Imagine this, you're at a dinner party or maybe you're on a phone call with your family or friends, and you naturally like to talk about the rewards that you're getting and the travel and all the points that you're earning with your Chase cards. I mean, you normally do those sorts of things. You're naturally just marketing. It's just free marketing for Chase. You might as well get paid for that, right? So you want to give them your refer a friend code, that link, so that they can sign up for a Chase card and you get the benefit from their sign up. I find that many people holding a Chase travel card really like the experience of getting free travel or getting heavily discounted travel, and they will just naturally speak to you and say, hey, I really love this card. You might as well benefit from that. If you want to get your referral link specific to you, then I'll leave a link to that below as well. Now, this is a huge opportunity that people are always missing out on, and that's never applying for Chase business cards. They have some of the best business cards out. Listen, if you have a side gig, a side hustle, you deliver, or do you have something that you're earning money from that you may not really count as a side hustle, you need to start thinking in that way, because just using that, you could get approved for a Chase business card as a sole proprietor. You don't need an established business. You don't need a corporation or an LLC or some sort of formal document to say that you're a business. You can just say, hey, I'm earning money from something that I'm doing, I'm selling, I got a yard sale going on, that means you're in business and you can apply for a business card. Now, if you've seen some profit this year from your business, it's going to be really effective to use a business card to separate those expenses so that come tax filing time, you can easily comb through all your business expenses in one place on a Chase credit card statement so that you can easily see everything you spent for the business and separate that out and make it really easy for you. Now, the first year I worked on this business, Barton Media, it definitely took me way longer. I'm talking hours longer than it should have, just because I was putting a lot of business expenses on my personal credit cards. And that was a real big mistake I made, and that will never happen again. Another massive perk about using Chase business cards is that all that usage will not show up on your personal credit report. It's not going to increase your utilization rate, and thus your FICO score is going to be able to increase even higher. So you'll want to take all that usage that you're putting on those personal cards, take them off, put them on the business cards with Chase, and those won't be reported on the personal side. So when it's time for you to get approved for a home loan, guess what? It's not going to show up there when they pull your credit. It's going to allow you to get approved for better terms, lower interest rate. That in turn will improve your monthly mortgage payment. And plus, these Chase business cards are extremely good for getting a business lifted off the ground because they give you a highly sought after sign-up bonus of 0% interest for at least 12 months. So if you need some funding for your business that you're just starting or an idea that you have, you're going to have 12 months to use it to invest in that new business without having to pay interest on that money you borrowed. And their Chase Inc. Business Preferred Card is still coming with a huge $1,000 sign-up bonus, so you really can't beat that. Now, when it comes to business, I like to call it an investment because you're basically borrowing money for free to turn a profit later down the line. Next, a big mistake that people are making is by having absolutely no plan for how to earn that sign-up bonus. The last thing you want to do is miss out on $1,000 sign-up bonus. I mean, that's going to be devastating, right? And on the personal side, if you're using the Sapphire preferred cards, they come with a sign-up bonus that require you to make $4,000 in purchases over a 3-month period. That can be a huge task for a lot of people who aren't used to spending that much money. But for most of Chase's sign-up bonuses, they represent over a 20% return on spend. So it's worth your time to earn these sign-up bonuses. There's a few things that come to mind when I think about ways to earn those bonuses. You can pay for things like home appliances or cell phones. Those will clear $1,000 easily. You can prepay for utility payments for like gas, water, or electricity. Now, you can even pay for rent on the personal and business sides. Now, if you're on the business side, you can use a payment processor like Melio that allows you to pay your business rent or any vendor for that matter that you're working with for your business. And they only charge a 2.95% fee for those payments. But here's the thing, you're getting back a massive percentage on return on spend, likely 10, 20+% return on spend there. Now, on the personal side, my landlord already allows me to pay with a credit card if I choose to. They just charge a 3.5% fee. So in the case of earning a sign-up bonus, that might be a good strategy for me to take if I wanted to do that. Now, a really hard problem to solve, but a lot of people are still making this, is only using one Chase card. Chase did not design their credit card lineup, their system, to use just one Chase card. This is an ecosystem. They are supposed to be used synergistically together so that they play off one another so you can get maximum value. If you don't use multiple Chase cards, then you're leaving money on the table, and you never want to do that. So for example, the Chase Sapphire Preferred Card can be a really good workhorse for travel related purchases and redemptions, but it's not going to be great for general spending. That's where the Freedom cards come into play, and you want to establish and construct a trifecta to really use those rewards effectively. You can use the Freedom Flex card that earns 5% cash back in rotating bonus categories, and you can use the Unlimited card as a more general spending card that earns a flat rate of 1.5% back on all purchases and earns 3% cash back in dining and drugstores. Now, when you use the Freedom cards in conjunction with something like the Sapphire Preferred card or the Reserve card, you're able to transfer those points that you're earning on those general spending categories over to the Sapphire cards, one of those Sapphire cards that can earn you an extra 25% to an extra 50% in value when redeeming on the Chase Sapphire portal. In person, I've had multiple people come up to me and rave about how they love their Sapphire Preferred card, and they'd show it to me and they'd be like, that's it. I put all my purchases on this card. Well, that's a problem. In the moment, I act like I'm happy for them, but I know full well that just using that preferred card for everything is a real waste. But they don't understand that. The preferred card is not meant as a general spending card or a catch-all card. they need to start applying a real strategy to how they earn rewards and constructing a system that's going to get maximum value from their card lineup. So within the last year, Chase has been making some very promising updates to their systems and rules that could make it easier than ever to get approved for their cards. And more important, if you already have a few other Chase cards, they're loosening up on how they treat credit limit increases, so you no longer need to stress out when you apply for one. Definitely check that video out to learn more. Thank you for watching.